I'm William E. Boston III. I was a full colonel in the Air Force when I retired. I served from 1965, actually January 4th, through the end of July in 1992. When you fly as a military pilot, wartime sticks out, severely.
We were flying in missions over North Vietnam. It was the Linebacker 2 operation that basically was a large offensive against Hanoi and Haiphong. During that time, we lost 9 crew members out of my squadron. Only one of them was captured and came out when they released the POWs. The rest were all killed in action. Those missions where there were 200 friendly airplanes in the sky and maybe 6 MiGs, but SAM missiles and anti-aircraft fire everywhere, and very lethal. It was pretty frightening to do those missions. After the peace was negotiated and the agreement was made to return the POWs to us, they set up a flight once a week to send a transport plane, an American transport plane, to Hanoi, and it would pick up a load of prisoners and bring them back to the Philippines where we were based. These guys, some of them had been prisoners of war for more than 7 years, were finally being released. One day they would send the mission into Hanoi, and it would come back, and everybody from the base, all the families and all the military people that could get away from their duties, would go down to the flight line and meet the flight coming in. And there was a little bit of a ceremony. The first flight, I think the Supreme Commander for the Pacific was there, the 4-star Admiral, and his son came off on that flight, and that was John McCain. I think the hardest part, for most military people, I think, who are married and with families, it's the separation. And we had, in a period of 3 years, we had almost 2 full years of it was separation from the family, and that's always hard. That's extremely hard on the family, it's hard on the military guy, and it's just not nice.
My daughter was 3 years old at the time, and when we would get a chance to come back from Thailand, we'd come back to the Philippines to see our families for 3 or 4 days. And we always laughed because we all wore green flight suits. And, from a distance, all pilots looked the same. And so my 3-year-old daughter, whenever my wife would be in a BX or the commissary and one of the pilots in the squadron, she'd go up and talk to him. And my daughter would run and grab him around the leg and call him Daddy. To her, anybody with a green leg in a flight suit was Daddy. We can laugh about it now, but that was really a fact of life in those days.
We were in the Philippines. Our command post knew immediately when there was a plane down. So the wives knew that somebody was going to have a knock on their door. And you wondered if the chaplain and that car was going to drive up to your door, and you had no choice. You had to let them in. It's like it's in your face. You're thinking, this is what he does, but it's hard to take when you see him climb up on that airplane and you know where they're going.
My life was determined by my military service. It's why I'm here today. When you say, well, how did it affect your life? It was my life.